Hello and welcome to Talking Truth Ministries, where my goal is to try to share the truth wherever it may lead. And the ultimate goal is leading people to Christ. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. So tonight, being Supernatural Saturday, I'm picking up where I left off with my spiritual warfare lesson. Last week, I talked about the giants of the Bible. There's also some hybrids. Now, what we're talking about is when the angels, there were 200 watcher angels that came down on Mount Hermon, and they commingled with mankind and other creatures and giants and other interesting monstrosities showed up, I guess. But so there is a talk of hybrids. Now, a hybrid is a mixture of two different kinds, two different species, if you will. Isaiah 13:21 says, "But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there." Now, if you see the picture on the right, is the common belief of what a satyr looks like, kind of a humanoid creature on top with goat legs and horns, and he was very wicked. In fact, the grotto of Pan is located at the base of Mount Hermon. The grotto of Pan is a temple to this satyr known as Pan. And it's interesting, we get the words pandemonium and panic from this pagan god. Isaiah 34 says, "The wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the wild beasts of the island, and the satyr shall cry to his fellow. The screech owl also shall rest there and find for herself a place of rest." Other hybrids mentioned in the Bible, 2 Samuel 23:20 says, "In Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, the son of a valiant man of Kabzeel, who had done many acts, he slew two lion-like men of Moab." The word in Hebrew is Ariels. It's really not clear what that means, but it was translated as lion-like. So maybe this illustration down below is what they look like. Because he says he also went down to and slew a lion in the midst of a pit in time of snow. So, the word lion in this one is a different word. Here we go. Then it says, "From the Gadites that went over to David at the stronghold in the wilderness, mighty and experienced warriors, expert with shield and spear, whose faces were like the faces of lions, and who were swift as gazelles upon the mountains." So is this literal language, or is it figurative? It's who, I don't know. It's interesting though. The pagan gods down to this. The gods of Mesopotamia are the some of the original pantheons, so to speak. Now, all these gods, we got Anu, the god of heaven, we got Enlil, god of air, Enki, god of fresh water, and Enlil, god of rivers, and Nergal, god of death, Nana, yeah, god of the moon, Ninurta, god of war, Utu, god of the sun, Gira, god of fire, Tammuz, god of vegetation, Marduk, god of storms, and Nabu, god of scribes. Now, these gods, they're not real gods, and these are just artist conceptions. But these are fallen angels who have taken on the identity of these gods to cause man to rebel against Yahweh God. Most of these gods are universal through all the pantheons. They're the same gods with different names, and some of the pantheons have different gods with different attributes. And there's the goddesses of Mesopotamia. You got Namu, who's the goddess of the sea, and Aya, goddess of light, and Ningal, goddess of the reeds, and I can't read the middle one. Oh, it's Ereshkigal, underworld goddess, Ishtar, goddess of love, Ninkarak, healing goddess, Nin Hersag, fertility goddess, Nin O, wind goddess, Nanshi, goddess of justice, Nidaba, goddess of writing, Ninsun, goddess of the herd, and Ninsaksi, goddess of alcohol. Interesting. So now these goddesses, there's no female fallen angels. They're all they're able to take on the appearance. Like Ishtar is also known as the goddess of war, and it's the same one that's Inanna, the goddess of sex and violence and warfare and everything. Now there were specific goddess guardians of the underworld. You got Apophis, he's a night demon. These are the Egyptian ones, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, these are the Egyptian ones. Then you got Osiris, lord of the underworld. You got Anubis, guardian of the dead. You got Set, lord of chaos. Apis, protector of the dead. Akir, god of the horizon. Quebecat, lady of balance. You got Serket, goddess of healing. You got Nephthys, the morning goddess. Babis, god of violence. Amut, god of death. And Sekhmet, goddess of terror. You notice how they take on these interesting appearances, like these hybrid beings. Like you got the Minotaur there, like the lion-like men there, and then you got this dog-headed one there, and this one looks like an ape of some sort. You got the crocodile head. It's interesting how they take it. Maybe these may be Nephilim too, you know, or hybrids of some sort. The Aesir, or gods of Asgard. Now I'm sure a lot of these, if you've watched any of the Marvel universe, you'll recognize some of these. You got Odin, god of the runes. Then you got Vili, god of wisdom. Ve, god of spirit. Thor, god of thunder. Bragi, god of poetry. Forseti, god of justice. Tyr, god of war. Honir, the god of the battle god. I wonder what the difference between the god of war and the battle god is. Balor, god of light. Bor, the blind god. Well, that's interesting. A god that's blind. Bali, god of retribution, and Vidar, god of vengeance. Retribution and vengeance seems redundant there. But Thor, the god of thunder, is the same. Would be like Zeus, the god of thunder and lightning. So you'll notice now, I do this in there, that if you've ever been to Washington D.C., and I have a couple times, I wish I would have known about this stuff when I was there. But the pagan gods are everywhere in Washington D.C. You got the god Mars, who is the god of war, at the entrance to the U.S. Capitol building. Even the word capital is from the Roman Capitolina, where they worship their gods. The Romans worshiped their gods. It was a temple. The Capitol building was supposed to be, it was intended to be like the temple of America. You got all these dome structures. The dome is symbolic of the pregnant belly of Isis, the goddess Isis. Just these gods are displayed all over Washington, D.C. Even all the planets are named after the pagan gods. The Greek Titans. So we've heard of the Clash of the Titans and the Greek gods. They're partly terrestrial, partly celestial. So they're basically like the fallen angel. The gods came down and had relations with human women, which would be the fallen angels posing as gods. They rebelled against their father Uranus. After prolonged contests, were defeated by Zeus and condemned into Tartarus. Now, man's fascination with the ancient gods. Let's delve a little bit more into that tonight. The chemical elements. You get cerium, named after the goddess Ceres, which is the goddess of harvest. And that's also where we get the word cereal. This goddess is a Nephilim. Then you got europium, which is named after Europa, who was a human that was a Phoenician woman raped by Zeus. Then you got helium, named after Helios, the Greek sun god, a Nephilim. Mercury, named after Mercury. He was the guide to the underworld, a Nephilim. Neptunium, or Neptune, god of oceans, a Nephilim. Plutonium, Pluto, guardian of hell. This one appears to be a demon. And I got this graphic off of Discover Ministries out of I think Australia. Promethium is the element named after the god Prometheus, who was a Titan punished by Zeus, a Nephilim. Selenium, who's named after the moon goddess Selene, a Titan, a Nephilim. Thorium, named after Thor, the god of thunderbolt, a Nephilim. Titanium, a Titan, a first generation giant. Then uranium is Uranus, was the first ruler of the universe, or was God. Months of the year. January was named after Janus, the two-faced god of gates, a Nephilim. February was Februa, was the festival of purification. So that was named after a specific that would probably be a Jewish festival there, I would think. March was named after Mars, the god of war, also Aries, Nephilim. April was Aphrodite's month, goddess of love, and Venus, also Nephilim. May was Maya's month, daughter of Atlas, the Pleiades, a Nephilim. June is Juno's month, wife of Zeus or Hera, Nephilim. Then July was named after Julius Caesar, who was believed to be Jupiter's or Jove's son. August was named after Augustus Caesar, which means venerable, and he was also an emperor. September, October, November, and December are they're named after numbers 7, 8, 9, and 10, and they're the meaning is the Greek or the Hebrew words Tishri, Keshvan, Kislev, and Tevet. So at least 4 of the months are named after the something in the Hebrew scriptures. Days of the week. Saturday is Saturn's day, or Satan, but it's also the Sabbath day. So it's interesting that the Sabbath day was co-opted by the pagan world and called Satan's day or Saturn's day. Friday, I guess I made the slides that we're going backwards through the week. Frigg's day or Venus day, the goddess of love. Then Thursday is Thor's day. Then Wednesday is Woden's day, or Mercury, the guide to the underworld. Tuesday is Twee's day, or Mars day, god of war. Monday is the moon day, and Sunday is the sun day. All gods, all pagan gods here. The solar system, they named the planets, or more accurately, the wandering stars, are named after Nephilim. You got the Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. Then you got Pluto, Eris, which is a small little supposed planetoid. Of course, none of this stuff is real. But anyways, that's what's taught. So Mercury in the Roman is Mercury in Rome, to the Romans, Mercury, and to the Greek, it's Hermes. He's the guide to the underworld, the Nephilim. Venus is Venus or Aphrodite, goddess of love, and Nephilim. Earth basically means Eretz, or land. Mars is Mars and Ares, the god of war, Nephilim. Jupiter is Jupiter or Zeus, god of sky and thunder, Nephilim. Saturn, Cronus, father of Zeus, Satan. Uranus, Uranus, father of Saturn, first ruler of the universe, or God himself. Neptune, or Poseidon, god of oceans, Nephilim. Pluto, Hades, I don't know why he's called a demon. He should be a fallen angel, but we've got a demon. And then Eris, Discordia, or Eris, the goddess of strife. So you see lost my train of thought. It's all about these pagan gods, the emphasis on these gods. Like the Olympics are named after Zeus and the Olympian gods. Let's look at these product names. The goddess of victory is a Nephilim. That's Nike. Nike, the goddess of victory. Versace, their symbol is the Medusa, woman with a head of snakes who turns you into stone. Versace is using a very unusual logo. You got Osiris shoes. Starbucks, theirs is a siren, also may be known as a mermaid. Half fish, half woman, or half bird, half woman hybrids. They used to lure sailors to their death with their songs. But they Starbucks likes to use it as their logo. Kind of a bizarre picture there, if you ask me. The Odyssey, Greek epic about Ulysses and the ancient gods. Amazon, race of female warriors whose name meant without breast, Greek Amatzos, or killer of men, and Androctonus, the hybrid of Ares and Mars, a Nephilim. Europa, or the continent of Europe is named after Europa, who I said earlier was a Phoenician, an Arab woman who was abducted to the Greek island of Crete and raped by Zeus. She gave birth to Nephilim, like Minos, father of the Minoan civilization, and the Minotaurs. The biggest continent was Asia. It's got the 30% of land mass, the most populous continent, 4 billion, 60% of humans. And it's named after the wife of Iapetus, mother of Atlas, Prometheus, daughter of Oceanus and Titus, granddaughter of Uranus and Gaia. She was a Nephilim. Atlas, god of astronomy and navigation, son of Iapetus and Asia, Nephilim watcher, and the island of Atlantis in the Atlantic Ocean was named for Atlas. America. Now this will really get you. The children of the sun adore the plumed serpent, who is the messenger of the sun. He was the god Quetzalcoatl in Mexico, Lukamats in Kike, and in Peru he was called Amaru. From the latter name comes our word America. America is literally translated land of the plumed serpent, and this is taken from The Secret Teachings of All Ages by Manly P. Hall, which is a Masonic text or a Masonic book. The god Astarte was known by many different names in different lands and cultures. Other names for this same goddess of spring are Semiramis, the wife of Nimrod, Aphrodite, Venus, Diana, Ishtar, Kali, Ostara, Eostre, Hathor, Liberty, Columbia. And today's Holy Mary, Mother of God, the Queen of Heaven, shares many of the same traits as Astarte. They don't have here is Inanna was the original one, and Inanna is a very wicked false god. Anyways, Sumerian gods: Ningal, Saja, Baal or Baal, Dagon, Nergal, Ereshkigal, Tammuz, Inanna, right there. She's the one who can supposedly change her gender. She's the one behind the gender crisis, I guess, we're going through right now in this country. Ancient legends. All these countries: Sumer, Assyria, Egypt, the Incas, the Maya, they had Gilgamesh, the Aztecs, Persia, Greece, India, Bolivia, South. All these places have all these ancient legends about these gods that are all similar. Now, this is the cave I talked about, the Grotto of Pan. It's called the Gates of Hades. Hades was also the brother of Zeus. This is where the temple for the Greek god Pan, the shepherd god, was located. This is the location where Jesus, the true shepherd god, gave Peter the revelation that the gates of hell or Hades will not prevail against the church. Philip's Caesarea was in the foothills of Mount Hermon, a great peak in what we call now the Golan Heights. So this is where Jesus gave that message and told Peter that the gates of hell shall not prevail against the church. This is known as the gates of hell. Let's look at some modern evidence for some of this stuff. The collective memories in the form of myths, fables, and fairy tales from various cultures and ages of mankind are overwhelming evidence that the Nephilim existed. This is by Steve Quayle in his book Genesis 6 Giants. Now, all around the world, there are these what they call megalithic structures, which is ginormous, huge buildings. Or not, well, just monuments and just these structures. There are pyramids on every continent. There are also pyramids in Antarctica. You'll notice I don't call Antarctica a continent. It's not. But there were even pyramids in the North America, in modern day United States. In the St. Louis area, there was a huge pyramid at one time. Then you got Stonehenge, and this on the bottom here, the bottom right is what's called a dolmen. Those are prolific throughout the northern area of Israel, near the Golan Heights and Mount Bashan, or Mount Hermon, in the area known as Bashan. This one on the bottom left is a pyramid in New Mexico, and there's a Mayan pyramid on the upper left. Then we got these, they all line up on our flat earth map there. They all these structures, they all line up in a straight line, and they all point towards Baalbek and Stonehenge. Baalbek is the history of Baalbek reaches back approximately 5,000 years. Excavation beneath the great court of the temple of Jupiter have uncovered traces of settlements dating to the Middle Bronze Age. 1900 to 1600 BC, built on top of an older level of human habitation, dating to the early Bronze Age, 29 to 2300, which makes it roughly contemporary with the Tower of Babel. I'm gonna have a little bit of ice cream when I do it. So, Baalbek. Oh, come on. Baalbek has the largest. I can't read that because my there we go. And heaviest quarried stone in existence, estimated at over 2 million pounds. After the flood, when Nimrod reigned over Lebanon, he sent giants to rebuild the fortress of Baalbek, which was to be named in honor of Baal, the god of the Moabites, and worshippers of the sun. History of Baalbek by Michael Alute, page 41. This stone is called the stone of the pregnant woman. I don't know why, but that's what it's called, but it's huge. Great Britain has like Stonehenge. There's these, again, these are called dolmens. They have to do with some kind of burial ritual. Other than that, I'm not sure what else they would be used for. Could you imagine how hard it would be for a man, humans to put that up there? It had to be something large. Then you got the Nazca lines. These are in Peru. You can only see the images from the sky. So who would do that and why? All these large rocks with these carvings on them. This is in Cusco, Peru. Look at the polygonal stones, these multi-shapes, how they're so intricate. These stones have no mortar in them. You can't even put a hair in between the stones. Just that precise of building. Here's a giant, or a stone image, and you notice how sexuality was always an important part of the culture. And then, of course, there's the Maui on Easter Island. These things are, what are they about? They're all over Easter Island, I'm sure. Everybody's probably heard of these things. Then this here is in Peru, Machu Picchu, I think. These heavy stone, heavy stones were mined or quarried, from, I believe, on this side of this gorge here, somewhere on this side, and they were transported. These are like 20 to 30 tons at least. How did they get them there? Probably giants. All these different areas around the world that have this polygonal stones that fit together perfectly. Peru and Italy, look at that. Maybe not, they're not as good as Peru though. Egypt, Turkey. The Gateway of the Sun. Inca ruins. Look at this. Why are they? Look at these huge stones. It's almost like a giant catastrophe, like maybe a flood or of some sort, maybe. But look at the precision on these stones. This is andesite, which is harder than quartz, if I'm not mistaken. But what was all this stuff built for? Here's some more. You'll notice this one is a panther or a puma. In these, just look at the precision. Look at this one here down here. All this precise construction. We can't even do that today with our technology. There's the Nazca lines I was talking about. Here's a map of all the different images you can see from the sky. There's this. What's interesting about the spider is it's a certain spider that's only found somewhere like in the Amazon jungle, and they're really tiny. But how did they know? You know, and why why were these made? Look at these. Just is it some kind of like I don't know. They're crazy. Gilgal Rephaim. This is in Israel, in the area of Bashan, near the Golan Heights. This giant wheel, the circle of the Rephaim, 5 circles including 20-ton stones, dated to 3000 BC, built on a flat plateau only visible from above. It's 10 miles from Ashtaroth Carmaian. Look at that. Amazing. Now let's go to Egypt. I like who's building all this stuff? These are basalt boxes inside the pyramids underneath. There's all these engravings on them, and these things are so precisely cut. Oops, I guess I thought I had more pictures. That there's perfect right angles there, and how did they get in there? They hadn't been put in there before the pyramid, because it's all one. This box is one piece. Then you got the lid that goes on top of it, and there's several of these. What are their purposes? Ancient Egypt ruled by hybrids. Elongated skulls is another indication of Nephilim. Then you got the Sphinx. So was the ancient Egyptians rulers of Nephilim origin? It looks like it. Now, more of Egypt, some more interesting stuff. Images of what appeared to be modern day technology: a helicopter, a submarine, a glider, and another unknown type of aircraft were discovered by Dr. Ruth Hover and her husband in the Temple of Abydos in Egypt. Based on the archaeological findings, coupled with the biblical research of related manuscripts, Lynn concludes that the overall evidence points to the existence of the Nephilim. Here we go. Looks like a submarine, looks like a helicopter, looks like some kind of aircraft right there. These are 3,000-year-old. How did they know what this stuff, unless they've seen it? Here's some other hybrid images. A woman with wings and looks like bird feet of some sort. Then you got this guy here with wings. These are representations of some of the gods. Look how big this guy is, a Nephilim right there. Now there's the Anunnaki, who are many believed to be aliens, but they came to Earth and created mankind. Again, the lie of Satan. Eric von Daniken and his Chariots of the Gods. He goes through all this, and I read part of this book. He makes some interesting points. I'll just put it that way. Tries to make it out that this is all alien technology and everything from outer space. This is in Peru. Kind of look like astronauts, don't they? These carvings. Now, let's look at some American history as recorded in newspapers. Giant skeleton found in Arizona, Wisconsin, Florida, and Indiana, Wisconsin here, Massachusetts, they found giants. San Francisco, San Antonio there. So we got all these accounts of giant bones being dug up. Now this is interesting because this is from, we've all heard of Buffalo Bill, I'm sure, or at least some of the older people might have. In his biography, he wrote, while we were in the Sandhills scouting the Niobrara country, the Pawnee Indians brought into camp some very large bones, one of which the surgeon of the expedition pronounced to be the thigh bone of a human being. The Indians said the bones were those of a race of people who long ago had lived in that country. They said these people were 3 times the size of a man of the present day, that they were so swift and strong that they could run by the side of a buffalo, and taking the animal in one arm, could tear off a leg and eat it as they ran. That's pretty big. That's pretty big, pretty strong. Now, here's some images I found. Now, I'm not going to verify whether they're real or fake. You know, Photoshop this thing, you know, is you can do a lot of things with Photoshop, but I don't know. These images are out there. These are real. These are in Paracas, Peru. L.A. Marzulli has gone and done extensive research on these. Now this one, can't say for sure, but looks kind of real. I don't know. Interesting. Recent discoveries, again, some more images of giant skeletons and skulls and stuff. Now, these skeletal figures represent just a few giant human remains unearthed and documented in historical records, along with historical accounts of Goliath, who had 3 brothers. Actually, it was 4 brothers as big as he. Og, king of Bashan, whose bed was 13 feet long, and Maximus Thrax, a Caesar of Rome. So let's see. That's a 6-foot man. Here is one that was found in Turkey, 15 foot. Maximus Thrax was 8'6". Goliath is estimated to be about 10'6". Og of Bashan about 12 foot. And then you got this under an overturned oak tree in the canton of Lucerne in France. Here's another one in France beside a river in Valence, 23 feet. Look at these. 25 feet France near the castle of Chaumont, nearly a complete skeleton was found. And this one, the Carthaginians uncovered 2 this size. An earthquake in Cimarron, Bosphorus uncovered 1 more. So just look at these giants that have been documented as real. Here's what they would look like if they had, you know, possibly, you know, with skin and bones or skin and everything on them. Just think, could you imagine running into that thing? No wonder the Israelites were a little bit afraid. The slide I'm gonna skip because I'm not sure about this now, so we'll skip that one. Daniel said, and they that be wise will shine as the brightness of the firmament. And they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. But thou, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even till the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Which basically means people will be going to many sources to discover the truth of the end times, and will have their eyes open to this truth that is happening now. And I think it's more now, more than just end times, truth about what's going on everywhere in the world. And there we go. That's the end of that lesson. Thank you again for watching. Please hit the subscribe button, share this with your friends. And God bless and have a good night.